Okay, thank you again, everyone, for being here tonight. Hope you enjoy your time. So I'm going to tell today about DApp Developer Research, as you already know. And I'm Anna. With some of you, we might have met at other events. For those who don't know me, I'm from Fluence Marketing and Community team. And at Fluence, we're building scalable computing and storage platform. Okay, let's start. So what I'm going to tell you today. I'm going to tell you why we even started this research and how we have done it, what we went through. And then I'll discover you some of the insights we've got. And finally, I'll tell you what is Fluence and how it would help build your DApp. Okay, do you know this guy? you know who is it, huh? Developers. And yeah, he's right. As we are an infrastructural project, of course, one of our key audiences are developers. And to be useful to them, to you, we need to understand what are your problems and challenges you're facing. Yes, there are a lot of infrastructural projects in the community who are building great things and having big goals. But we were thinking, who could bring the mass adoption to crypto? And of course, these are projects more consumer-centric, decentralized applications. But what do we know about dApps? In the late 2018, we found that we don't know much about it. There is not much information. Who are the DApp developers? What they are doing? What are they focused right now? What are their challenges and problems they're facing? So we decided to go and talk to developers. We created 40-question survey. These are some of the examples of the questions we've got. And we started reaching out to engineers. That was quite an effort we've done. That's not a bragging, but just there was like 36 or 35 tabs in that Excel, and we've got a lot of data collected and analyzed. So from the original list of 1,624 projects we had, 700 had no contacts at all. No Telegram groups, no admin email, nothing. So we reached to 900 of them, and we finally, reaching out to them, got 160 surveys completed. And that was not an easy task. This was sent to me by one of the respondents' engineers, whom I was harassing a couple of times through different channels. And he sent it to me finally like, okay, I'm going to fill your fucking survey. Okay, thank you. But this is how we felt. This was exactly... We were 3 people, and it took us 2 months of full time doing this research. So yeah, finally we got the results and we analyzed the results, and we found out that despite of the bearish crypto market last year, 2018, most of the dApps were created last year, probably after CryptoKitties explosion. And that was a curious thing that about funding, that most of the dApps were bootstrapping last year. This is 2018 and this is 2017, so compared to last year. Whereas the VC-funded and token sale-funded dApps numbers stayed relatively the same. But what's great to see that people are not building projects alone, but having 3 to 5 people teams mostly, having bigger projects, bigger ideas. At the start, we had a couple of hypotheses, especially the question, which parts of the DApp stack are centralized and which are decentralized. So we asked the multiple questions, and we found out that actually dApps are relying on centralized services. So they are running backends with complex logic that you cannot execute on blockchain, or they store users' metadata in cloud databases. And whereas this is against the idea of decentralization, it didn't seem to bother most of the developers. They just treat it as a necessary evil right now. And it might be due to the DApp users, because users, they don't actually care which parts of the stack of the DApp are centralized and which are decentralized, as long as their assets are stored on chain and belong to them only. For the most mentioned tech issues, engineers were naming poor quality of tools and libraries. They are poorly documented at the moment and sometimes not compatible with each other. Probably you know what I'm talking about. And then, of course, behaving sometimes in an unexpected way. You can see here the quote of one of our respondents about Solidity. The second tech issue is connected to instability of the network. Most of the developers are using Infura, those who build with Ethereum, using Infura to connect to blockchain. But they are naming that they have to use multiple technologies to connect to the network, which might affect negatively to the end user experience. The third is the difficulty to retrieve the data from blockchain. So there are currently no tools existing for that. Of course, there are projects building that. I'll tell you a little bit later about that. So yeah, so there were a lot of talks inside and outside the community. Is scalability the biggest issue that's stopping us from mass crypto adoption? And we had this question, and what we figured out that most of the developers were not calling it as the biggest issue. Maybe it is due to the seems like the developers just, you know, we have not yet hit the ceiling where we would need to deploy this scalability solution. But most of the engineers are positive towards the future. They have planned to scale. 65% said yes, that they have planned to scale if their user base outgrows underlying blockchain capabilities. And let's get to the most interesting part. So how do you think, what's the biggest challenge for the people building dApps? Any guesses?
United States. United States.
Onboarding. Onboarding. Mm-hmm. Maybe you read the article. Okay, no spoiling anymore. Okay, so yes, the most challenge is the overall number of crypto users. It is still not sufficient enough to kickstart the mass adoption, and probably it's connected to the insufficient UX, which takes us to the next point. And yes, there was a good guess about onboarding and educating new users. Most of the engineers are struggling with onboarding and educating. That they have to educate people when they have new users, they have to educate them on the concepts like how to install MetaMask, how to treat your crypto assets, what are like how tokens are different from NFTs, from coins. There was a quote from CryptoKitties that they have to explain their users that CryptoKitties are not cryptocurrency. So for some of the projections, we see that there will be more integrations between browsers and crypto wallets and vice versa. For example, Trust Wallet or Opera or a couple of smartphones are releasing this already. And then for the better UX is going to be more usable cross-platform authentication and onboarding tools. And of course, the solutions that help removing gas fees from the user and put it to the other side. Our initial idea that we were doing this research to separate the talks and rumors from the facts that were there. So we did it for the community as well. And it seems that it was quite new and fresh information for most, because we got amazing responses. A lot of like thanks. We found some new information in that. I think it was translated in 3 languages and posted over like 70 media. So we were very, very happy and looking forward to the next year. So how Fluence could help you, since I'm from Fluence, and here's our Dmitry, our CTO, how Fluence could help you. So at Fluence, we're building scalable backends and databases. So you can run your backend on Fluence very easily and decentrally. If you are interested more about that, tomorrow we will have a workshop here. We are releasing DevNet. So Dmitry will tell you, will walk you through the platform and give a tutorial. So welcome to the same place, same time tomorrow. We also going to have another meetup at 8 midday with IPFS and NewCipher in Consensus on Friday. And this is the link to our research. Please go ahead and get more information. This was just few insights that we've got that I shared. And yeah, won't take most of your time. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Maybe any questions? No questions.
What was the response that was most surprising to you?
What do you mean, the response?
No, just from the survey. Like, was there a result that you had some expectation of yourself, or something that you completely didn't expect?
Yeah, we had a couple of hypotheses, and one of that was the scalability. I think that was the biggest surprise for us, that we thought that scalability is the issue, and of course the decentralization. That most of the stacks, the decentralized apps are not decentralized actually right now, but that's what we have, and let's work with it further. So we hope that we deploy the solution for that with Fluence. Yes, Toma.
The biggest problems they faced were overall small number of crypto users. Do you know if these dApps provide services to crypto users, or they are providing services to users, but they have to have crypto just to use it?
Yeah, they have to have crypto to use it, but who were responding to us, there were games that were collectibles,
so
that
it's
were
not necessarily crypto users, it's just
yes.
demand this technology to be able to use it. Okay.
Yeah, to like simply work with Met, you have to have transactions there.
We're recording this one, so if you can like speak up when you ask your question,
Oh, it
it
was so
will be
loud.
amazing. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I'm a grandmother.
Yes.
Are you planning similar research on DApp users or DApp developers?
DApp
You said,
users.
for example, that you think that DApp users don't care whether certain part of a DApp is decentralized or not. Like, do you plan on having a research actually checking if they do care or not?
I think that would be really interesting for all of us. That's a really good point. But I can explain why we started with developers, because we are at Fluence, we are doing infrastructure, we are building infrastructure, so we want to talk with like one step before the users. But of course, that's very important. I think that would be good if we had some insights on that. Yeah. If anybody wants to help with that, by the way, we can do a community project.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
We'll talk with you later. Okay. Okay, let's move. Oh, okay.
Not so fast.
Okay.
So I think I remember when you made this research, I think maybe you sent a message on the EOS Telegram group.
Yes, we also.
I think it was before the liquid apps on EOS. So do you think that the fact that now we have the liquid system for dApps with IPFS and all this infrastructure, do you think it changed something for the decentralization of applications?
Well, I'm not sure if I can answer you that question, but if it's relating to IPFS, I would suggest you to come on Thursday and Friday and talk to Portia. She will be there, and she definitely, I think, can give you better insights at least. Yes, it's going to be in Consensus, in the Consensus office in Paris.
Okay.
Somewhere nearby. I'm not sure exactly, I'm not local. Yeah, definitely join that one.
And do you have the figures about the percentage of applications that use IPFS?
We have that, but so there were multiple questions, and there were open questions, so people could comment on that. So I wouldn't say it's very precise, because people might just not mention it, but approximate number I think we have. I should check. There is a raw data actually. We published the raw data, so you can check by that link. We have there. You can see the old entire data. Yes.
I don't know if you mentioned it at the beginning, but how much time did it take you to make this research?
We were a 3-people team, and it took us 2 full months, with starting from like idea to the publishing the results. And it ate a lot of part contacting people.
What sounds strange question, but what's your purpose for research and developing this solution?
The purpose? Well, we wanted to find out the challenges. What are exactly, because we had a lot of talks last year, right? Like what's exactly the problem? But we haven't talked ourselves with the developers, like, you know, finding out. So what is your problem? So that was the idea to have the. Sorry. Well, we can talk during the networking. I can explain you more. Yes.
Did you compare your results with other industries? So to whether check that is something that is only specific for blockchain, or whether other technologies have the similar kind of problems?
Well, we found a little bit similarity, but it's not a research. But when the Netscape started, so that was a bit similar situation, that there were a lot of websites and the catalogs, and then, you know, it's kind of it's a big similarity how it grew that time and how it grows now with the dApps. But no, we haven't compared with other. I think that would be different number. Like, I don't know how you could compare it even. I don't know, but that's interesting.
Also, do you have any kind of thoughts on how you could figure out whether that is just what the developers feel is a pressing issue, or whether it's actually the actual issue that's currently underlying? So it might be that they're thinking, okay, that's the issue, but it actually isn't the issue.
Well, yeah.
Preventing from.
Yeah, that's a good question. But in every research, I think you have this kind of, you know, probability that how people feel and how they actually replying. So it's difficult to find. But we started with interviews. So we wanted to know, more. But then we realized it would take us so much time. So we just proceeded with surveys, and then it's like more statistical data you can get from survey. So maybe we can switch. I'm just afraid that other speakers won't have time. Is it okay? We can talk during the networking. Okay, so thank you so much again. Great you're here today. And let's